There is nothing more devastating than seeing a BTS member standing on the edge of a decision that threatens the bond of 7 people long believed to be unshakable. But even more shocking is the fact that the decision didn't start from the outside. It came from within, from one of the most loyal figures, Jungkook. And when Taehyung heard it directly, his tears could not be held back. The question is, what exactly did Jungkook say that made Taehyung almost collapse emotionally? A source close to BTS's internal dynamics revealed that the conversation was not an ordinary discussion. There were no cameras, no spotlight, just a silent room full of tension and words hard to say. Jungkook, who has long been known as the most loyal member and rarely makes extreme decisions, was the one who broke the silence. At a time when all members were still bound by confusion over direction and roles, Jungkook reportedly uttered one sentence that immediately froze the entire room. "If Taehyung can't be himself here, then I don't deserve to stay." This statement triggered an emotional reaction from Taehyung, who is known as a calm person but harbors many wounds in silence. Never before had he shown such deep tears in front of his fellow members. But in that moment, it was as if all the pressure he had long held exploded uncontrollably. In his silence, there was anger, sadness, and a sense of betrayal by the system they once trusted. What led Jungkook to such a decision? And why did Taehyung become the key figure triggering his move? Various clues are widely scattered on social media in the form of cryptic codes, facial expressions during live broadcasts, and increasingly frequent solo activities by the two members without HYB's involvement or the BTS brand. Some say they have lost trust in the management, especially after a series of decisions deemed to suppress their personal expressions, whether in music, lifestyle, or public relations. The fact that Jungkook openly voiced his support for Taehyung becomes a signal that cannot be underestimated. This is not just about solidarity, but also a form of resistance against a structure they feel has changed. A change no longer siding with transparency, but with control. Taehyung himself is said to have long questioned his position in the group, especially since public interactions between him and Jungkook have been drastically reduced by the promotion system. Many armies realized that the closeness that once became an icon of warmth has slowly disappeared. Questions arose. Is this really a communication strategy, or rather a deliberate form of separation? Public reaction to this emotional moment spread quickly. One international fanbase even stated that this could be the most drastic turning point in BTS history. No longer just about hiatus or solo projects, but the real possibility of two major icons leaving the system that once catapulted them to global fame. The question now is Jungkook's decision truly final, or merely a form of ultimatum to a system he considers no longer fair? And does Taehyung truly want to let go of everything, or is he still waiting for a turning point that never comes? What makes the situation even more complicated is the absence of direct responses from the involved parties. No denial, no clarification, no effort to fix the narrative. Only a long silence, as if everyone is waiting for the storm to pass by itself. But the public does not stay quiet. Hashtags about betrayal, demands for justice, and calls to reveal the truth continue to echo across platforms. Some pop culture analysts even state that this is not merely an internal drama of a music group. This is a symbol of the system's failure to understand that loyalty is not something that can be forced through contracts, and that individual expression should not be sacrificed for the sake of a global brand. Another surprise came from the fact that after the emotional moment, Jungkook reportedly halted all his ongoing collaboration projects. He withdrew from several important schedules and cut communication with some major media outlets. A move that clearly did not happen without a deep cause. Many suspect this is a form of silent protest, or even preparation for a major statement being carefully planned. Taehyung also did not stay silent. In several of his recent posts, whether photos or out-of-context quotes, ARMY found several clues referring to separation, betrayal, and loss. One of the most controversial posts was when he wrote, "Not all wounds are visible. Some can only be felt." This sentence was immediately interpreted as an emotional outpouring about the internal pressure he has been enduring, pressure he can't even share with his fans. The tension happening now is not only felt by BTS members, but also by millions of fans who have long been witnesses to their journey. Many feel lost because if Jungkook and Taehyung, two figures considered the most resilient, begin to show signs of surrender, then who else can they trust? In a larger scheme, this is a painful reminder that even a system as big and successful as BTS is not immune to identity crises and internal conflict. When a member like Jungkook boldly declares that he cannot stay if Taehyung must continue compromising with himself, then this is not just a conflict between members. This is a conflict of values, integrity, and of who really holds control over their lives. Now the public waits with bated breath. Will Jungkook's move be followed by official statements from other members? Will Taehyung choose the same path, or let time prove it all? And most importantly, what really happened behind the scenes that could destroy a bond once believed to be unbreakable? No one knows for sure, but one thing is already clear. When Taehyung can no longer hold back his tears, and when Jungkook decides to leave out of solidarity, then this is no longer about BTS's future. This is about their future as human beings, as individuals who have long been known only through the group's name, but now try to reclaim control over their own lives. And when two of the strongest voices on the world stage choose to speak through silence and tears, then the question is no longer, why did they leave? But rather, why did they feel they had no choice but to leave? But in a situation increasingly blurred between reality and public perception, one fundamental question has yet to be objectively answered to this day. Did Jungkook's decision to leave BTS to stand up for Taehyung really happen? Or is this merely a narrative shaped by the power of opinion and social media algorithms? In this emotionally charged atmosphere, the public seems trapped in a wave of uncontrollable information. Short TikTok videos under a minute, incomplete clips from YouTube live broadcasts, and ambiguous tweets all create an illusion of authenticity that may not be real. So, can you, as part of the intelligent public, distinguish what is fact and what is merely speculative construction? It must be emphasized that information regarding Jungkook's statement and Taehyung's emotional response cannot yet be proven through direct evidence. The entire narrative currently unfolding comes from fragments of content lacking official confirmation. These sources are scattered across social media platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and independent YouTube channels that often blend factual data with sensational narratives. The question is, can we fully trust platforms whose algorithms are built to maximize attention, not truth? It's not impossible that certain parties are playing on the collective emotions of ARMY to create a disruptive narrative. In the entertainment world, opinion manipulation is a weapon. When BTS's two most powerful figures, Jungkook and Taehyung, are made symbols of separation and rebellion against the system, we must ask, is this the reality they truly face, or merely a reflection of public expectations shaped by digital content? We must also dare to question, why is this narrative emerging now? What hidden motives lie behind the virality of this issue? Are there economic, political, or branding strategies being played by unseen parties? If there is indeed internal conflict, why are only two names emerging while the other members remain silent? And if this is a fabrication, who benefits most from this chaos? These questions are not to dismiss sympathy toward Jungkook or Taehyung, but to challenge us all not to fall into shallow opinion shaping. We must dare to put logic above emotion, analysis above hysteria. And several viral video clips, Taehyung's facial expression when asked about his closeness with Jungkook indeed seemed to change. But does that change in expression truly reflect conflict? Or is it merely a one-sided interpretation shaped by content editing? In a visual world that can be manipulated with precision, we must suspect every narrative built on a silent moment forced to carry great meaning. Not only that, Jungkook's alleged decision to withdraw from some important projects also sparked controversy. But the public should ask, is that action truly a form of resistance against the system, or merely a coincidence manipulated into a symbol? Why is there no narrative clarity that can be independently verified? And further, is the absence of clarification a form of strategic silence, or a sign that there was never anything to clarify? We live in an age where narratives are shaped not by truth, but by virality. When a crying video gets millions of views, then tears can become a commodity. So in this context, can we be sure that Taehyung's tears are purely emotional, or have those emotions become part of a narrative designed to create mass empathy? This is where critical reflection becomes crucial. This article is not to convince readers that the incident is real or fake. Its main purpose is to challenge readers to question: do you believe because of evidence, or because you want to believe? Do you conclude based on data, or based on deep affection for your idol? These questions must be answered with a cool head and full awareness of how the information system works. There is no doubt that the emotional impact of this narrative is immense. Many armies admit to feeling lost, betrayed, even crying after watching clips believed to be the emotional farewell of these two icons. But this is precisely where the manipulation gap opens wide. When emotion dominates, logic tends to be sacrificed. We also cannot ignore the fact that social media provides a vast stage for speculation. In a world where popularity is measured in views, likes, and retweets, the more controversial a narrative is, the higher its value. And this is the brutal reality every information consumer must acknowledge. Are you sure those spreading this content truly care about the truth? Or are they merely chasing public engagement? In a broader context, we must also see how the narrative of these two BTS members' separation affects fandom dynamics. Divisions in opinion have begun to appear among fans themselves. Some fully believe Jungkook and Taehyung are fighting the system, but others begin to suspect that all of this is just an exaggerated illusion. Internal conflicts are emerging, not only within the group, but among those once known as solid. ARMY itself, is this the real goal? Creating polarization to keep attention alive? Is BTS being used as a battlefield of opinion to maintain relevance in their post-peak era? And if so, who is the true mastermind behind this emotional chaos? To answer all of that, the public must dare to take a stance, skeptical, reflective, and critical. Never rely on one source. Never trust one video. Never conclude from a single sentence without context. The modern information world is full of narrative traps, and our task is not merely to be spectators, but rational interpreters of reality. We do not rule out the possibility that everything written in this article could be wrong. But we also do not reject the possibility that this is exactly the depiction of a reality that has long been hidden. Therefore, we leave the entire interpretation to you, the readers. You have the power to decide. Will you believe entirely or start questioning everything? Finally, we want to remind you that this article was composed based on information from various social media and unofficial sources, including TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. The validity of each piece of information still needs further verification. Therefore, we strongly encourage readers not to treat this article as the sole truth, but as a tool for reflection to test how prepared we are to face an era where information is no longer black and white. The question now: are you ready to accept that maybe, just maybe, none of this ever really happened? Or rather, do you want to believe that it's all true, because bitter truths are easier to swallow when wrapped in emotion?